clear. The Rebbe did not choose which Sikha should be printed for the Shabbos. The group of people who were involved would decide, looking through old Sikhas, this Fabringen, that Fabringen. Remember looking, no, this one is much harder to make, this one's easier. Let's choose this Sikha. We choose a Sikha. This is the Sikha that we're going to work for Parsha Shmos. I'm just giving an example. What we did was, you would take the Sikha, learn it through the way it's in the Hanocha, which is Bilti Mogya, not edited by the Rebbe. Look it through, read it through. Look through all the sources, because the Rebbe would quote the Medrash, quote the Rashi, quote the Gemara, quote, see this, my Morim. Look through it, and look the sources. So first of all, you would get a clearer picture of what the Rebbe said. It was a lot of work. I see the pictures here. People sitting there in the office working with all the spotting, looking in. It was a big job. So besides getting a clearer picture and getting, because the Yukim and the Rebbe, you would see, I have to tell you, you would see that there is much more in what the Rebbe said than it sounded. The Rebbe said, Avot here, when you look through the sources and you look through everything, you think about it, you discuss it, there is much more to it. So we'd sit down and work it out, trying to understand the way the Rebbe said it. You can't write it as the words the Rebbe said it, because there's a difference how you speak and how you write a sefer. There's a difference, different style. The Rebbe wanted it should be not the way you speak, the way it's a sefer, the way it's a style it's written. And also the Rebbe, when you speak, you repeat yourself. So, and the Rebbe wanted, and he wanted clearly, look through and see what really is there. So we would look through and see and understand. Plus, I said before that we used to ask after the Fabringens, as the Rebbe Shailas, and the Rebbe would answer, like over here. And I can tell you, if you look through the Sikha, look at the Sikhas, as this Sikha was printed, see, this was written after the Fabringen. Years later, this was printed, look at the Sikhas. All these answers are incorporated in the Sikha the way it's prepared for the Rebbe to be Magia. Because the Rebbe explained himself, and these answers explained himself much more, with more details. So that went into the Sikha too. So it's not easy, because a lot of work, to sit down and to see the answers and to fit it into what the Rebbe said. Plus the Rebbe would say some inyonim, 1 week, another week, continue, you have to put it all together. Sometimes there were inyonim that the Rebbe spoke about that same topic, different years, different Fabrengens. But it's all the same topic, so you have to take it from here and from there, put it together, because it's all the same minyan. Here the Rebbe added another vart, another pshat, another thing. It's all in the same minyan. So it would be all put down and given into after it was all prepared, it was typed up, and given into the Rebbe to be Magia. The Rebbe would be Magia, the Rebbe would edit it, means the Rebbe would change a lot of things. And also I have to tell you here, if there was anything that the Rebbe felt you should have known better, he didn't spare any words. He would fix a lot, which he felt had to be fixed, but he wouldn't comment. Sometimes he would comment pretty strongly. How could you do this? How could you write such a thing? And I always chazer over this word, this example that the Rebbe wrote once when we quoted in the Sikh. It was quoted that the word Knani means a merchant. Where does it say Knani means a merchant? It says in a posik, Knani Yodem Meis Mirmo. But Rashi in Vayeshev also says that. And the word Basish Knani, Rashi says Tagre as merchant. But when we wrote just the Maramokim. The source is the posik in Tanakh. So the Rebbe added in big words, Pirish Rashi Vayeshev, and he wrote on the side, V'chiyav echad mikem ein alei mit chitas. Does not one of you guys learn chitas to remember this Rashi? I mean, he was very, very sharp, married times Mafil, but the Rebbe was Magia, changed, added a lot of ha'ores, added, sometimes the whole Nekuda was changed, because the Rebbe had given over a message, you write the way you understand, and if it's wrong, I'll fix it, don't worry. So the Rebbe would be Magia. After the Rebbe was Magia, it was given to the printer. And the printer printed it there. Till then, the first time was a copy. You see on top here, this is typed. The top is a copy of the first Haggadah. The Rebbe was Magia. Then it was put onto gelis. Gelis were long pages, and I'll show you. I have a copy of a geli. Actually, not from a Sikha, Lekutei Sikha, a different Sikha, but an original again. These are the gelis. It was paper like this. and it's printed already, letters printed by the printer, and was given into the Rebbe again. And then the Rebbe was Magia a second time. See here, sometimes in the second Haggadah, the Rebbe would add more than in the first. You see this? This is already, the printed column is already after the Rebbe was Magia, made changes, and it was set up, typeset, with all the changes. Then, the second time, this is another copy, the Rebbe added. Sometimes the Rebbe would add full paragraphs, full sifim. This is from our first, look at this. This is in Parsha Kiseitze in Chelik Yudalet. All this is the Rebbe's Ksav Yad Kodesh. All this went into the, but this is all by the second Haggadah. If I remember, I think it's second Haggadah. But the Rebbe would add. And after the second Haggadah, it was given back to the printer. And the printer, see, I'm showing you the example. This is here, you see, you can't see from far. The Rebbe would write usually with a pencil. This is Haggadah on the side here, a big Haggadah here, in the second Haggadah that the Rebbe would add. Like I said, sometimes he would add more in the second one than the first. We would see sometimes in the first Haggadah, I can tell you, on the side, maybe one of these copies I didn't even pay attention, you would see little circles. The Rebbe would make himself a siman that he has no time to get into that, and he made a circle that when he's Magia the second time, that's when they go into it. And that's why the second time, a lot of times there's more. This took the Rebbe hours upon hours, not always the same. One of the maskirim once told me, one of the secretaries told me that 1 week, they would work 10 hours on the sikha. 10 hours, imagine how much time the Rebbe didn't have an extra second. The first time, Tovshin Yudches, when they asked the Rebbe to start being Magia, the sikhas, he said, Rabbi Chadaka was very angry. You know, the Rebbe, every second is precious. If he's going to give time to the Magia, the sikhas, you know what that means? He's going to take away time from answering people questions that have to do with life and death. So how could you even expect him to be Magia? To know what the Bochrim answered. These were Bochrim. So the Bochrim answered, that's Pikuach Nefesh. True, this is also Pikuach Nefesh. That the Rebbe should be Magia the Sikhs. The Rebbe accepted it. So I'm saying how fresh, and the Rebbe said so many hours. One of the Maskirim once told me that he went into the Rebbe was in the middle of being Magia, the pages were laying on the table, and he was in the middle. And as he walked in, the Rebbe took the pages, put them together like that. And he said, give it to them. Eile dovar sof. There's no end to it. I can sit and add and add and add. My unbelievable. It's a well that has no limit by the Rebbe. Could add and add and add. So the fact that he was able to be magbil himself, to limit himself, to be able to just write what he wrote. So that was something. So the Rebbe spent so much time on this, and he put himself, and he was medayik. If you would see the Haggadah, you could see how the Rebbe was medayik exactly the words. And so changed words that it should be exact. So the Rebbe really put himself in here. I just want to add that if a person learns, look at the sikhs, and is booking in the sikhs, all or some, you have an advantage. Besides the first and foremost, he's kasher to the Rebbe. The Rebbe put himself into it. You're learning the Rebbe's Torah, so you're connected to the Rebbe. Besides that, the benefit is you become a big London. You know a lot to learn because there's so many Londons there. You become a big masculine chassidus because there's so much chassidus there. You become a person who full of ashkofa on having the proper outlook on mitzvahs, on Torah, on the Eibishter, on Yom Tov, on Yidden. You get a complete different outlook. I want to finish up. I have 1 more minute left because I tried to finish on time. I have a sheet that we have to start on time, but you have to finish on time, probably more important. So everyone knows that. So do you want to finish? I once went to Parch Alter Yisrael. They had a big gathering, so they asked me to come to be a speaker. So I went there. So on the plane, imagine, I met a guy, a Gerer Chassid. A Gerer Chassid, I remember finding him, I was talking to him a lot. So he tells me like this, I'm not a Lubavitcher, I'm a Gerer Chassid. But I have to tell you, till Gimel Tammuz, the last few years, I used to come to 70 every day just to look at the Rebbe. Just to look at the Rebbe. I never wrote to him, he said. I never spoke to him. And he became a chassid. Just to look at him. So why? So this is what he tells me. He says, before I got married, certain thoughts came to my mind, questions in the yonim of Amunah, Eibush, it didn't affect my life. But it started, then I got married, and the questions started getting stronger and stronger. And I was afraid, word's going to lead me to chas v'sholem. If it goes on, chas v'sholem will drop everything. Once I sat in shul, in the weekdays, to Mincha Maya, there were a short while, so there were Svarim on the table, so everyone took a sefer, picked up a sefer, laying, just Lakut Sichas and Bavitcher Rebbe. I opened it up, and Mamish, about one of the questions, main questions that I had, the Rebbe talks about it. And explains it, he says, so much, so clear, I never heard anything as clear as that. It answered my questions. So I started learning more. He says, the Rebbe, Poshet with his Lakut Sichas, saved my life. Otherwise, I would be down the drain. So I Poshet came every day to look at the Rebbe's face. And I'm not a Lubavitcher. I'm a Gerach Chassid, he said. This is for us, we have to remember. Learning Lakut Sichas puts your mind straight in understanding Torah, understanding the Kedusha of Torah, because the Rebbe is Medayik and every word is holy. The Kedusha of Torah, the Kashrus, the Lomdas, there is nothing better, there is no Sefer better that came out in the last few hundred years than the Sefer Lakut Sichas. So let's all make a achlota, and Hektev is the day of Svarim. The Rebbe Sefer Lakut Sichas to start learning more and getting into it more and trying to remember more. And with that, the Eibishter will help that we will take the Sefer, like it says with the Zayad, and that with the Zayad we're going to go to Greek Mashiach, we'll grow the Greek Mashiach with Lakut Sichas in our hands, and it should happen b'meira b'yamein the B'korim Mamash.